Good morning, everyone. Or good morning, guys. I want to welcome you to the Neal Center for Justice. We thank you for coming out today on a very auspicious day, one which is hoped to be a part of history here in the state of Oklahoma. Today, the citizens of Oklahoma united in one voice to say that it's time to do away with partisanship, it's time to do away with polarization, and it's time to start representing the people of the state of Oklahoma. Folks all over the state, whether you be Republican, whether you be Democrat, or whether you be independent, have said that they are tired of folks arguing and not representing. They are tired of people determining whether or not your worth depends upon what your registration is. They want someone that's going to be able to represent them in a way that is going to not only help them, not only help their family, not only help their friends, their communities, and not only the state, but they also want people that are about putting the people's business first and foremost. And so that's why we are happy to host the Sooner State Party here today at the Neal Center for Justice. We hope that today is going to be a day of change for the state of Oklahoma. You know, Robert F. Kennedy once said that it starts with just a few. All you need is just a few people of goodwill who are willing to come forward to make change. And we believe that that's what's happening here today as the folks that are beginning to build the Sooner State Party have gathered, and that is what they're hoping to do by being a part of this great auspicious occasion. I'm going to be introducing a couple of people so that way everyone can have an idea of who's going to be a part of the organization. And then we're going to talk about some of the issues and how change is wanting to be affected here in the state. The first person that I want to introduce is one of the organizers for the Sooner State Party. That's Cecilia Esso. She's actually one of the individuals that helped to file the information in order to get that together. And we're honored to introduce the interim executive director who stepped forward, who has some experience with politics, but most of all, just wants to do something to help people in the state of Oklahoma get the kind of government that they deserve. And so at this time, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to turn it over first to Cecilia for a few words, and then we're going to be honored to bring on the executive director, or interim executive director, who's going to tell you a little bit about the Sooner State Party. So if you all will help me welcome Cecilia Esso to come forward.
Hi y'all, my name is Cecilia Esso. I'm 22 years old. I'm a daughter, a student of OSU, and a black and proud black woman standing before you as the face of a party and a movement. A movement that doesn't ask you to choose red or blue, left or right, but instead asks you to choose each other. We're not here to play by the rules of the old game because that game was never designed for everybody to win. For too long, politics has been a fight over power, not people. While politicians argue on TV, families are struggling to afford rent, our schools are underfunded, our communities are over-policed, our planet's burning. Too many of us feel unheard, unseen, and underrepresented. I've seen it firsthand. Growing up in my grandmother's home, 5 paychecks coming into the home, not for luxury, but just so we could afford the basics, really. I've seen neighbors who work harder than anybody I know still stay behind because hard work doesn't always mean anything if the system was rigged from the start. But this movement, our movement, it's not about anger alone, it's about action, about reclaiming what democracy was supposed to mean. We're the party of purpose over partisanship. We don't care if you grew up in a conservative household or you marched for every liberal cause. We care about whether you believe that healthcare is a right, that education should open doors, not trap people in debt, and that justice must be equal and not selective. We believe progress shouldn't be a partisan issue. Clean air and clean water aren't partisan. Living wages aren't partisan. Respect for workers, for women, for immigrants, for LGBTQ plus folks, for Black and brown lives, that should never have been partisan. Some will say we're naive, that we're too young, too idealistic, too old. But history doesn't move forward because people played it safe. It moves forward when people dare to believe in something bigger than themselves and then actually build it. So I'm not standing here asking you to believe in me. I'm asking you to believe in us. To believe that a better world is not only possible, it's necessary, and that together we could make it real. Because this movement is about every kid who ever felt like they didn't belong in the system. Every worker deserves a voice. Every voter who's been told that their vote doesn't count or who's been discouraged from even going to the ballots at all. Every person who's tired of choosing the lesser evil and wants to choose something good. We are that good. We are that change. It's not about winning power, it's about sharing it. It's about lifting voices that have been ignored. It's about reimagining what leadership looks like and who actually gets to lead. So I say this to anyone watching and listening. If you're ready to be heard, if you're ready for a government that works with the people and not over them, and if you're tired of being divided while the rich and powerful stay united, join us, not as partisans, as people. This is your movement. This is your home, and this is just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Esso. That was great words. Next, I'm going to bring forward the interim executive director of the Sooner State Party, or the Sooner Party for short. Reagan Burns has been a resident of Oklahoma for most of her life. She is a graduate of OSU, and she has worked in campaigns throughout the state of Oklahoma. We're glad to welcome Reagan Burns to the stage.
Thank you. My name is Reagan Burns. I am the interim executive director of the Sooner State Party. We invite you to come join us as Democrats, Republicans, Independents to form the Sooner State Party as we celebrate our nation's liberation. On this day, Oklahomans will stand united to claim their own independence from the unreasonable partisanship and political polarization. Our message is simple. No more red, no more blue, just Oklahomans helping Oklahomans. Our platform will be as such. We support a strong military, law enforcement, unions, and teachers. We believe that no child should be left behind in either education, healthcare, nutrition, or opportunities. We revere and honor tribal governments and believe in their right to govern their own citizens in their territories because First Nations are sovereign nations. We believe in being fiscally conservative, just without being morally apathetic to the needs of Oklahomans around us. We believe in a balanced state budget and a state government that uses its revenue to protect the essential programs designed to support those needs. We believe our seniors should have a better standard of living in their retirement age, with support from legislation that will not rob them of their benefits or their dignity. We believe in the Second Amendment right to bear arms, and that right is best exercised through responsible and educated gun ownership, which protects lives, liberties, and property. We believe in the rule of law and support a fair and equal criminal justice system that protects citizens from the ravages of crime while still safeguarding the constitutional rights of the accused through equal protection. We believe in people before parties or polarization. The duty of a public servant is to put the interest of their constituents before the interest of their party. stances as we come together to create this platform. Thank you, and welcome to the Sooner State Party.
Thank you, Director Reagan. We appreciate those words. Folks, I have a question for you. We have in this room a mixture of different political affiliations, both past and present. We have some independents, we have some Democrats, we have some Republicans. I want to ask the question to each and every person. Have you truly been represented to the best that you could be? Do you feel like government, whether it's of your own party or of the opposite party, are so concerned about getting their points across to each other that they're not worried about getting the issues addressed for you? Are you a person who feels that if we went back to what originally was said by one of our founding fathers, George Washington, that political parties in the end would bring chaos and division? Are you an Oklahoman that's tired of that and wants change? Are you an Oklahoman that wants to make sure that your children have the proper education that they need without lawsuits being thrown out every place, without constant arguing both at the education department and at the state department, or at the state capitol? Are you an individual who feels that you've worked hard most of your life and you have done everything you possibly can, but at the end, when you're facing your golden years, you have to worry about whether or not you're going to be able to survive? You're worried about whether or not you're going to be able to have food, not only just to feed yourself, but to be able to have enough money to cover the rest of your bills because of the limited amount of income that you have. Are you a person, like many, who has turned on the TV this week and seen all the things that are happening in Washington and the contentiousness that goes on? And have you tried to reach out to your representatives only to be told, I've got to toe the party line? Folks, Oklahoma deserves better. We are a state that is very diverse, not only in our ideals, not only in our religions, not only in our backgrounds, but we are people that are diverse but come together under the Oklahoma standard. It was not that long ago that we just commemorated the 30-year anniversary of one of the worst tragedies that happened in the United States, but especially here in the state of Oklahoma, and that was the Murrah building bombing. At that time, President Clinton came to this state, a Democrat. He sat with Republicans, he sat with independents, and he said at that time that Oklahoma had come up with what was called the Oklahoma Standard. It's neighbors helping neighbors, it's people looking out for each other, people not worried about what your race is, what your religion is, but just worried about, do you need anything? Are you okay? Those are the things that are important. Those are the things that we need to focus on, and those are the things that our current politicians have seemed to forget. I want to say this in closing, that I feel honored to be able to host this event and to have everyone come here, but most of all, I feel honored to begin change. Change for this state. Change for the people that I know, that I love, people that I work with, people that I go to church with, people that I associate with in organizations, that everyone is going to get the kind of representation that they deserve, because it's not going to be about whether or not you have an R or a D or an I at the end of your political registration. What's going to matter is whether or not your interests are being met, whether you can call your representative and they actually listen to you, and whether or not people are going to try to be not only just a voice of change, but action for change. And so that is the reason why we're welcoming the Sooner State Party here today. We welcome those of you that braved the rain to come out for this press conference. And most of all, we want to thank everyone for being here. In closing, I would like to say this. I'm an individual who is a proud Mason. Haven't been one for very long, but I am. And one of the things that I have learned and one of the things that I see each and every time when I meet with my brothers is that it's not about what it is that we've done in life, and it's not about where our standard is in life. The thing that makes us united is the fact that we work together to try to be good. The saying is that masonry makes a good man better. And that's what we want to do for this state. We want to make a good state better.
Yes.
We want to do what it is that needs to be done in order to make sure that people that are here in this state are going to be represented. And most of all, we want to make sure that in this state, that if you are an Oklahoman, that's just simply what you are, an Oklahoman. We want to thank everyone for coming out. We want to thank everyone for taking your time. We want to thank Fox 25 News for coming out to covering this event for us. And we hope that we will see you soon. There is, and I want to make sure to bring this out, a petition that is going to be circulated soon. And this petition is actually going to put the Sooner State Party on the ballot. I would encourage each and every person that's here to be able to sign this, so that way that we can have this start at the beginning. We do have a couple of these signed. I think we're right now somewhere in the neighborhood of about 150 or 160 folks that have already signed. But we want to begin this movement here with the folks that are here. So if you have not signed, we're going to ask you to come forward to sign one of those forms, so that way we can get your names and your registration and we can begin to get started. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you. And thank you for caring enough about this state to be able to be at the forefront of change.